Hello, hello, hello. It's Stephanie here from Rent to Rent Success. Great to be back, success seekers. How are you today? This is one of our Rent to Rent short and sweet videos with a lot of information in only a little time. And I'm here answering your questions. So today's question is one that I get quite a bit actually. And this one's from David. And David has said, I'm confused about whether to do HMO or to do serviced accommodation. I think SA is more profitable. Is that right? So what I'm going to talk to you about today is rent-to-rent HMO versus rent-to-rent SA. And I'm going to talk about three main things. I'm going to compare them, pros and cons, finding the properties, managing the properties, and profiting from the properties. Which way should you go? Okay. First off, finding the properties. So sourcing. With serviced accommodation, you can use a 1-bed flat, a 2-bed flat. Smaller properties are really good for it. So they're easy to find. There are more 1-bed and 2-bed flats around. You can go to any letting agent and there's a constant stream of 1- and 2-bed flats. So it's for service apartment, it's easier to find the properties because there are more of those sort of properties available. With HMO, it's harder to source those properties because there are fewer of them available. But we've got great ways for you to be able to source them efficiently through letters and with our agent scripts. So that's the first one. So SA is easier to source, HMO is harder to source. The second point I want to talk to you about is management. Now, this is important because HMOs are easier to manage. So with HMOs, you do all your work, you get your tenants in, and once your tenants are there, they're there for 6 months at least, sometimes a lot longer. That means that kind of management is much more straightforward than when you're finding new guests. I guess we call them on the SA front, when you're finding new guests all the time. So if you've got a booking for 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, you're constantly marketing for new business, constantly. So that makes the management of a service apartment much tougher. It's like running a hotel, hospitality business. You've got to be good at marketing, and you've got to be, or usually you need to be on the online booking platforms, which is booking.com and Airbnb are the two main ones. You pay a good percentage of your income for the privilege of being on those platforms. And at the beginning, you won't be getting as many direct bookings, so you'll need to be on those platforms. Next, you've got to be on top of your game with the operations of running your properties, because each guest that comes to you will be able to rate you, and those ratings are so important for you to be able to get future guests. So you need to be on top of, when I say operations, I mean things like cleaning, making sure that the apartment is ready, being on hand when people are late. I know you can do the automated systems where people can enter automated, but then you've got all sorts of risks of parties and all sorts of other issues which are more difficult to manage. So you've got to have either yourself, you've got to put a lot more time into it, or you've got to have a team. And again, at the beginning of having a team, you've got to put your time into managing that team. So it's a more time-intensive strategy. But you might be thinking, when we come on to number 3, which is the profitability, then of course SA is going to be winning. Well, let's talk about it. SA would typically be winning on the revenue. So the money coming in is going to be higher for a service apartment because people are paying by the night instead of by the month. So let's take an example where we are. If a really nice large HMO room might be $450, and you could rent out the same room for between £30 and £40 a night. So it's a lot more money. Let me quickly say it's at least 900 plus per night instead of per month on your SA, compared with 400 a month on your HMO. But the bills are so much higher. The running costs of your service apartment are crazy. As I mentioned, you've got your online booking percentage, 15% for one of the platforms. Then you've got your You've got your cleaning, any other stuff that you use for administering. So again, that's like 50% gone. It's a really, and oftentimes when I've talked to people who are doing SA and we're comparing, some of our HMOs are much more profitable than their SAs, and the time that we put into those HMOs is minimal compared to running the SAs, which is almost like a full-time job. I've had people come to me from SAs who are saying, because they've now got a lot of units, which is great, but that really does make it a full-time job. So whereas you can have a lot of units of HMO without it being a full-time job. So those are the, so over and for that, I just want to give you a bonus one. The risk involved is higher for a service apartment than it is for an HMO. The reason for that is what I was saying earlier. You have to market for every tenant, for every guest, and you've got to keep your marketing going all through the year. Most areas, it drops off in the winter than in the summer, so places are more difficult to fill. It depends on your target market to an extent, but many SA operators find that it does drop off massively during the winter. So what looks like a hugely profitable property in the summer, come the winter, is a loss maker. So overall, averaging it out over the year, oftentimes you're better off for the time involved managing an HMO. Now, I'm not saying don't do rent-to-rent SA, I'm just saying be aware upfront of what's involved. So to summarize, I think HMO is better if you've got a little amount of time and you want to get the most profit for the time you have available. And you're prepared to spend a little bit longer sourcing the properties. Not always, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find your first HMO than it would do to find your first SA. So HMO if you've got little time. So serviced apartment can work well when you have more time to manage that operation, especially in the beginning when you're getting your system set up and you're aware that you're not necessarily going to make the money, and also that there's more risk involved. Then you might want to go down the SA route because you find them easier to source and you've got the time to be able to manage that operation efficiently to make it work for you. So go either way, whichever you want. We love HMOs because we feel that for the time you put in, the profitability is better on the HMO side. So today I'm recording this, it's a Friday, it's a fantastic day. I hope you're feeling amazing. And I have a way for you to feel even more amazing. Subscribe to this channel, hit that red button. You know you're gonna love it. You're gonna feel so good afterwards. And also like this video and comment if you have a question you would like me to answer in one of these rent-to-rent short and sweet videos. I will see you soon. Have an amazing weekend. Bye for now.